One. Yo, what's good, everybody? It's Rocky here. God, it's been ages since I've said that, but I'm with my guy, Gav, as per usual, man. What are you saying? You good, bro?
I'm really good, man. It's been a minute and it's been
Yeah.
crazy. So much going on, but no, it feels really good to be back. Really good.
Yeah, man. No, I've been thinking about it all day. I mean, I put the announcement on Instagram last night, basically to say, we've been wanting to do this for so long, but of course, moving into the new office, which we'll touch on a bit
Mm.
later, and everything like that, and the pop-up that's just gone by, it's been so hectic. But yeah, that shouldn't be an excuse because we're gonna try and do this consistently and
Mm.
basically speak to you guys as often as possible and hear your feedback and engage as much as we can. So yeah, man, I'm so excited.
Yeah, no, I mean, talking about the pop-up, it does feel so long ago, but at the same time, it does feel almost like it was yesterday, if that makes sense. It was
Mm.
just talking about the new one makes you really, remember. There were so many good moments. I was so happy that I could be there this time. I remember your first ever one. That was crazy. But yeah, see the levels it's changed now and how many people came along. It was just yeah, mental. Saw so many faces that I talked to a lot online, through you and just on myself, and it was great to catch up with people. And the buzz there was it was great. It was the perfect spot, Torrington. It was absolutely perfect, man. It was really good energy, and yeah, I really can't wait for the next one. But yeah, it was good, man. Wasn't it? How do you feel like reflecting after a couple of months on it?
I mean, like I still feel like excited every time that like I think about it and see like photos or speak to people who I met there on the day. I'm fortunate enough like from that event to sort of know more people now, like in my
Mm,
sort of everyday life, like on Instagram and chatting to them online and even got some on WhatsApp that I'm fortunate to call my friends now and like we can meet
mm,
up for games and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And this is why I enjoy doing these pods and doing sort of these events. It's to sort of meet everybody that I've met through online or even people that we
mm,
haven't met. You know what I mean? There are so many
mm,
people that support us that may live in a different city and they're not so here as much, but they come out and show love and it's just
mm,
so nice and I'm so grateful for it. But yeah, I'm excited for the next one, man. I'm just starting
mm.
to plan properly now. Doing these pods is the best way to get in the mood for the interacting and
Mm.
stuff. So yeah, it's gonna be sick.
Yeah. No, it was good, man. It was so good. It was crazy because you were getting people sort of talking to you who just they were even just stopping for pictures and stuff like that. It was more than just the
Yeah.
shirts. Do you know what I mean? It was like I
Yeah.
felt like a photographer half the time. I was like taking photos for you. But it just shows the connection. Like it's not just about the shirt, because you're a gunner through and through. You live around, you live there. Do you know what I mean? That's where you're born and bred. It's like I think people feel connected to that, and like there was people like coming from different countries. I remember like some of the
Yeah.
guys. It was like Germany and stuff, and it was just crazy
Yeah.
to they would tell you the stories of like I bought stuff from you before. I follow some people follow our pods and they would like mention certain things we talked about before, and I thought it's crazy. You become more than just a vintage seller doing a transaction. It was like a real sort of oh, it was brilliant, man. So I'm so excited to come down for the next one. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
gonna be wicked. A bit different vibe as well because it's gonna be like almost Christmas time. So
Yeah.
it's going to be darker. It's not going to be the same sort of thing, but it should be a really good vibe. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
buzzing for it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we did it in the off season as well, and
Mm,
it's just after what happened at the back of last season. But hopefully, the boys on the pitch as well can perform for us, and the spirits
mm.
of Christmas, and hopefully being top of the table again by that time will be
Hey, mate,
in the
it's
air.
it's it's possible. It's
Yeah.
possible, man. We're having a good start. Is it perfect? No, but neither was last season. So I think we're doing all right. So let's see how we feel after Sunday. But
Oh my
that'll be
God, after
a
Sunday.
good indication of where we're at. So yeah,
Yeah.
but nothing to moan about right now, man. It's good. It's good.
No, 100%. Well, let's get right into what we were going
Mm,
to talk about for the podcast. Of course, every podcast before we always try to like go with a theme and stuff. We used to talk about specific shirts. If some of you guys want to check them out, they're really cool as well. We'll go into like a whole season talking about, the three shirts, or we'll talk about one shirt and
Mm.
different variants. But here we're talking about a massive topic, like a crazy one that, if we look at it and really delve into it, which I'll go into now, it's basically how to build your collection, or sort of ways and tips that you can grow it. And yeah, there's just so many different avenues we can go down, and subject matters that we'll talk about. But it's basically about how it suits you. What do you want to get out of your collection? Um, are you interested in, player issue shirts? Are you just interested in, replica shirts that you just want to wear with pride, represent your club? Do you want to preserve them? Do you want player issue shirts? There's so many avenues to go down.
Mm.
But I just wanted to ask you specifically, like when you
Yeah,
started
yeah.
your collection, like what
Mm.
did you look for, or what was it that made you think, right, these are the steps I'm going to take to build the collection?
Yeah, no, of course, man. So for me, it was more memories, and I know we've spoken about that before. In recent years, I sort of strayed away from getting the new kits. I didn't really feel at the time. I think when we first started talking, it wasn't a great time for us as a club. Do you know what I mean? I just didn't really feel like I wanted to go out and branch out and get every single shirt every season. And but I started almost going backwards because, like you say, we were talking about with COVID and that, you started thinking about all the old shirts and the memories that they have with it. So yeah, the first thing we ever spoke to was about, I think it was the Home 2005, and there was an Invincibles as well, wasn't there?
Yeah,
We
yeah,
were
yeah.
talking about that and also the fakes that were around at the time. And yeah, so I started looking into, when I was sort of like in early sort of 18, 19, and all those sort of shirts were around, I wanted to sort of look into getting them. But I wanted to get that sort of era and a little bit from when I was a kid as well, like young kid. That's where it sort of started for me. It was just about sort of reliving everything, but didn't really pay too much attention to fonts, stuff like that. I wasn't really that fussed about it at that point. It was just purely getting some of the shirts that I had when I was a kid, and also the ones perhaps I just didn't have. I never actually wore them. So now as an adult, I could retain them, and that was pretty cool. But yeah, then and then talking to you, you kind of made it worse, if I'm honest. I probably have a lot more money, but
Oh
but
God.
um, but no, but it was we started talking more about the history, about the details on the shirts, and then the fonts sort of really intrigued me. I was like, oh man, like I think I've mentioned it before in some other pods, like the Home 2005, but the cup font, it was such a simple gold. And when I was watching Arsenal back then, didn't think about it. Do you know what I mean? It's just a really nice
Yeah,
shirt. I didn't care about the patches or the fonts or anything like that. But like looking back now, I started to look at them and think, oh man, that's really nice. Like, can you even still get that? Do you know what I mean? All these things were sort of busting through my head. I was like, oh wow. And then I started getting really interested in, actually getting the name sets, the old school ones, and if it's possible. And it just sort of went from there. I wanted to get everything as sort of more official as I could, if you know what I mean.
yeah, yeah,
Obviously, at the time when we started speaking, I was still working for Southampton Football Club, so I was always around sort of the name sets and stuff. I'd always ask questions, and I was really intrigued by everything and just the history of how they were done and all that sort of stuff. Do you know what I mean? It was just it really took it to the next level. I think I probably would have just kept some of my old memory shirts, and that would have been it. But it really brings out something in you when it's almost like obsessive, isn't it? It's
yeah,
like, oh mate, I've got to get it with my favorite player. I've got to get Henri now. I've got to get right. Do you know what I mean? It's
yeah,
like yeah, that's how it started. And obviously I did expand from there. I've downsized a lot now because I felt like I was going crazy, like just going too much. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
I felt like I had to have everything, like the home, the away. And I just
yeah,
thought to myself, when I open my wardrobe, how many of them actually, where am I going to go first? Do you know what I mean? What's my brain going to be like? Oh, do you
yeah.
know, I'm probably going to go for that. And majority of the time, it probably the same few, not the same many. So I downsized a little bit. But yeah, that's how it started. Obviously, I know you want to sort of ask more questions on it, but For me, at first, it was memories, and then it became more about getting the players I used to love, watching on the back of the
Yeah,
shirts. But yeah, long story
yeah.
short,
No, no,
ish.
it's
Yeah.
really interesting to hear because like I mean the whole point of this like this discussion is to sort of like hear different perspectives on people's collections and stuff. And I find it quite interesting,
Mm,
like historic moments are sort of key for you specifically. But one thing that I do want to touch upon is like if you do want to start your collection, some people, and it's quite common now, especially
mm,
sort of after lockdown and in this era of collecting, like being a completist is massive. Like we've seen
mm.
how far that's gone, like, and how
Well,
high that ceiling is now. Like the
mm,
opportunities to get shirts are endless, and that's what's sort of beautiful about it
mm,
in a way. As much as it's nice to have a small collection of your favorites, like yourself, which is really cool.
mm,
um it's also really cool as well, and I'm so jealous when I see
mm,
it, like like people like Simon when he was on the pod with us, and he
mm.
had every
Amazing,
single
amazing.
shirt, every variant. Like that is amazing. And I mean, I would recommend it because I'd love to see like that many shirts on somebody's walls because I certainly can't have.
Mm,
But it's just really cool to see different variants of different shirts. As you say, the gold
mm.
UCL font, that's something that we wouldn't have thought about back in the day.
No.
We only sort of really got limited amounts. Do you know what I mean? It's only now in the sort of modern sort of era of collecting shirts, and the sponsors know that they've been putting out these fonts and these sort of ways to help collectors get their favorite name sets and stuff. So it's
Mm,
really cool, man. Like, but yeah, like I just really want to get this conversation going because building a collection is so important. And I've
mm.
had a lot of new collectors now message me and say, I really want to get into it. Like, how do I do it? And as you say, man, just start with your favorites, start with, the best moments, the best memories, and then just work your way through it naturally. It can take a lot of time, it can go really quick, but I think being
Mm.
patient and scouring what your favorite ones are by looking back in history, it's important. But yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Like you can start with your favorite players, that sort of
Mm.
stuff, your favorite memories. But then when you've got that, you can kind of expand and but like you said, moments in time. Not so much you're my favorite memories, but like you say, like the final game, that sort of thing, 2005. Get it with the lettering on there on the chest and stuff, so that you can sort of like you could go anywhere. That's the beauty of it. There's so many things you could do. Like you said, you mentioned it before, variants, player versions, replica version. There's just so much. It's almost endless.
Mm.
And I think it's always going to be endless because you can have different people on the back. If you can obtain them, it's crazy. But yeah, just touching on like Simon's collection, I mean stuff like that. Like you say, if I could, I probably would.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I did have quite a few. I never as much as him, but I probably had sort of like maximum 30, 40 at once. And then for me, it was just my personal thing. I felt like I had too many. I wouldn't go to every single one, and I didn't want to sort of hold on to them. But at the same time, I admire people who collect everything. I think it's fascinating and it's exciting to see it, And if that's how people prefer to do their collection, then I think it's brilliant. Yeah, there's just it's just limitless,
Yeah.
and it seemed to be a lot easier now for people to get stuff with the name on the back and all the different versions of patches and yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing. It's amazing. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you only want to get 5 shirts, but if you want to get hundreds,
Yeah.
so be it.
Yeah.
It's just But like you said, there's always maybe going to be one more you want. I
There's
say to
always
you, I
there's
say
one
to you all
more.
the time. I text you and say, Rocky, I think I'm done now. I think I've got back sort of the ones I'm happy
Mate,
with. I know when
guys,
I go through the wardrobe, that's what
don't
I'm going to
listen to
wear.
this guy, man. This guy, I
I
say
know,
it to him
I know,
every
I
time
know.
he says it to me, yeah. He says, "Oh man, I'm just one more away." He's been saying this to me since like that time he messaged me on Depop. Like he was saying, "Oh,
Mm,
I just need one or two more to finish off my collection." And he's been saying this for like 3, 4 years, and it's unbelievable. You're never gonna finish it. Like this is what's beautiful
I
about it.
know,
You
I
just
know.
can't
But
finish
yeah,
the section.
yeah.
It's
That
endless.
that's it. And I,
But you can
I
be
still blame you though.
satisfied. Like
Mm,
you can be satisfied and sort of grateful with what you got. And as you say,
mm.
like now
Yeah,
you feel like you're at a good place where you can look at your rel. You've got about 15 amazing, important sort of like anything you could wish for in your collection, and that's really good. Um,
yeah.
yeah, sorry for interrupting you.
No. Just speaking the truth, man. I just wish. Thanks for calling me out on it, though. Appreciate it. But no, it's your fault anyway, mate. You
Oh.
always like sending me everything. Oh, look at this version. Look at this. This is, have you seen this before? And then I'm like, great. Now I want it. Cheers, mate. But um, but no, yeah. But it isn't it. It's a nice thrill. There's worse things in the world to have an obsession with. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
It's like you could, there's drink drugs and all this sort of stuff like. But you got fans who are just a bit obsessive about, or football shirts, and
Yeah,
it's a good community. Harking back again to the pop up, you only have to look at the energy there to prove that. It's a really good community and full of great people. So yeah,
yeah.
all for it.
No, it's really cool, man. Like, no, I totally get what you mean. And I 100% agree. But we'll move on to the next sort of topic I
Mm,
want to talk about. An important way to sort of build your collection is just looking at your sort of favorite players. I mean, it doesn't have to be your typical Thierry Henry. It could do. You could
mm,
sort of get every single one of his shirts. But what I think is quite cool recently, I've had a lot of people come to me and say, I want to get every sort of shirt of this player that he's ever worn, which I think
mm,
is like it's quite cool, but it's quite crazy at the same time. Like this word crazy, we shouldn't use that. We should normalize everybody's preferences. But like
mm.
if you look on Instagram, there's a guy called Nick. You might know him. He has every Rosicky shirt you could possibly find.
Mm.
Like
Yeah,
every
he
font.
laid them all out. I remember seeing
Yeah,
the
it is
pictures. Yeah.
insanely cool. Like it is amazing. Yeah, I will put his Instagram below for you guys to see. Like it's just mental. Like he collects his
Mm,
match worns, his again player issues, replicas. He's met him before. He's seen him at London Colney and got his signatures. And I think that's what's cool as well. And
mm,
specific players and collecting them in your collections is quite cool. So yeah, if you want to sort of delve into that, I think that's really cool as well, man. If you guys want to find your favorite player and just run with that, it's a good little side mission from your bigger picture. Um,
yeah, I mean
yeah.
that's kind of what I've done, isn't it? You're obviously I've told you, but
Mm,
when I almost started again a little bit, I've gone for sort of my favorite player per era, if that makes sense. So when I was
mm,
a young kid, I remember Ian Wright. So Ian Wright, I've got Bruce Banana, etc. That. Then we go into I've got Henri shirts, so he was my favorite player for that era. And then sort of the Emirates era, I really liked Fabregas when that he came along. Well, what I mean, progressed as a player. And then I went for Alexis, and then maybe controversial for some people now, but Aubameyang,
mm.
and now it's probably going to be someone like Saka, my away shirt from last season, Saka, that. So there's ways to do it that way as well. Per era, you can have sort of your favorite player and focus on them, which I find a lot easier than. But I'm sure at some point I'll end up wanting a Perez. But you know what I mean. But to
Yeah,
start, it's a good building block. So yeah, there's so many different ways you can do it, mate. So
yeah.
that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, no, I,
Yeah.
I think it's really cool as well. Like, and as you say, there's no right way to go about collecting. Do you know what I mean?
No.
It's all about what you feel as a person is right. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know
Mm,
some people who started out their collections simply not even building it up like sort of slowly. They just gone for the big hitters and they're like, right, like they'll just go
mm,
for the final game, and that's when they get like bitten, and they're like, oh my God, now that I've got that, I need to get this, and that, and yeah, it's just unbelievable. But and going back to the players as well, this is a topic
mm,
that if you guys follow the Arsenal shirt collectors group on Facebook, you'd know that
mm,
any player is sort of welcome. I know, yes, we've had, people like Van Persie go to United or Adebayor, God, Nasri, Gallas,
Mm,
but but a lot of fans have some form of emotional attachment to them. I know, like I wouldn't
yeah.
personally, but then again, I might look back on my 07 08 away shirt when I was a kid, the white one, with
Mm,
the Chapman commemoration, etc. I had
mm,
RVP on the back, like Van Persie,
yeah.
and the felt lettering and the patches. And and I know it's a bit embarrassing, but I wouldn't mind wearing it again, just to feel
Mm.
that feeling and emotion. God, please don't clip me on this. Everyone's gonna rinse me for it. But like,
Get my revenge.
there is
Yeah, yeah.
never a wrong sort of choice and selection. I know some people are gonna think, oh, fuck that, like, but you're entitled to do that, and being in a group full of collectors and stuff, there shouldn't be room for that judgment or discrimination. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. No,
So
I
yeah,
I agree. I agree, man. I mean, for all you know, someone like a Adebayor, for that could have been the first goal that someone saw as an Arsenal fan that sparked their love for them. I
yeah, and that's
remember.
like
I'm
me.
pretty.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
like the first ever game I went to, at the Emirates. Gilberto
Mm.
and Adebayor scored. So it's like if somebody
Well, there
said
you
to me,
go, man.
"Do you
Yeah.
want Adebayor's match one versus Reading?" I'm gonna be like, "Hell yeah, of course!" So
Mm.
100%, man.
At the end of the day, man, they played for the team. They played for Arsenal. Yeah, okay. You can even go back to Fabregas. Did it end perfectly? No, it didn't. Did Alexis end perfectly? No, it didn't. But when they were here, we loved them. Do you know what I mean? There was moments, there's memories, there's times we were screaming their names. So you can't just switch that off. And like we say, it's all about memories, and it's something that's very passionate with Arsenal fans compared to a lot of teams. We really do care about the history and moments in time. So yeah, I completely agree with you. No name should be off the the board. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah. No, 100%, man. It's because the reason why I'm saying that as well is because, like, you look at a player like Aubameyang, it's just really mad. Like, just like the stock exchange, right? Like, I feel like players go through periods of when their stock is really high and it can go
Mm,
really low. Like, I've seen it, for example, I can even use Smith Rowe as an instance. You know what I mean? If
mm,
you look back at like 2 years ago, I was doing like Smith Rowe drops where it would document all his like past sort of um shirts and etc. And those stocks were quite high. Like the values they were fetching
mm,
was quite a good amount because the supply was short and the demand was quite low. But now you might see more on the market because he's not in the limelight. And I guarantee I
mm,
haven't got the statistics in front of me, but if you look at the season where he was wearing number 10 and broke out properly, 21, twenty
mm,
two season, I'm sure he was top seller. But now, if that was on the market, it wouldn't be as sort of sought after in terms of like, his shirt now, for example, the shirt behind you. And
mm,
that's what I've seen going back to my point with a player like Aubameyang,
mm,
um, he was loved. Like, we all
mm,
loved him. He was bagging in goals for us. He was carrying us on his shoulders. I'm still grateful for it personally. I know we talk
mm.
about it quite a lot, even
Yeah,
though he did go Chelsea, but still, like, we really look at him and his stock, and it's kind of gone down. But for me personally, as a collector, like, I'd still love to collect his shirts, and there's nothing wrong with that. He was a great player
yeah,
for us. So
yeah.
yeah,
Oh my God. Yeah.
utilize the market. Like if you
Mm,
see a player like Smith Rowe, like this is what I'm saying. Like the other day, I bought a match worn signed shirt of his for a good amount. But
mm,
I think if that was like him at his peak, it would no way near go for the value I got it for. So
mm,
this is another point I wanted to talk about into building your collection is try
mm,
and invest now. Like invest in, like, even in the modern era. Do you know what I mean? 2 years ago, 1 year ago, You do see them pop up. Like sometimes I put them on the site and stuff, and you know, invest in players now. Like invest in Smith Rowe now, because like Nelson, where you think his career is dead, if you see his home shirt authentic version go up on my site or wherever, you're gonna want it because it's like that
Mm.
Bournemouth moment, that like the shirt you've got behind you now. Like what's that name? Like that's Nelson, bro.
Yeah.
Like it's mad.
Yeah, oh, yeah. It's on
Like,
the back. Yeah, yeah. You
his
never
stock
know.
is high now. Well, sort
Yeah.
of.
Well, yeah. I mean, it only takes moments like he did when he scored against Bournemouth. We
Yeah.
could have felt like he was going to sort of go crazy. Do you know what I mean? And get loads of games, but not yet.
But yeah,
but
but
it's that kind of thing that can
yeah.
happen. So yeah, definitely. And talking about sort of investing as well and keeping hold of things, like I think I sold. I had the 2011, didn't I? Do you remember the Henri,
Yeah. Yeah.
the alternate from the Champions League? Like mine was had the bag, everything, the tags on, and that was like I can't remember, like a year or whatever ago it was, and still I sold it for a good amount. But now it's gone crazy. Like that
Mm.
shirt is so expensive. You're looking at sort of 500 up, and
Yeah.
it's just crazy. Just so yeah, my I guess my tip there is take your time, don't rush it. If you're in a pickle and you do need to sell for financial, then obviously I completely respect that. But if you can hold on to those sort of things, yeah, don't rush. Because I mean, look at the gold O2, Jesus Christ, do you know what I mean? That's
Mental.
gone crazy. I bet you had, what did you used to sell them for? I can't
I
remember.
I had
When you
listen to this, guys. Like some of you guys won't believe me. But I had a brand new with tags. Even then, it was quite expensive.
mm,
Brand new with tags, Thierry Henry, like patches that were like literally out of like the champions patches,
mm,
from 2002, and it was like £500. But now they're
mm,
fetching, and that was with tags. So if you were to put that on the market now, fully printed, mint, in the bag, everything, you're looking at like 1,000 plus. That's double. Same
yeah,
thing with the gold Sega, man. Like I sold that on my
yeah,
website about a year ago, even for about £180. And now the only way to stock them is like 350. Even then, I'm not even like making huge amounts on them. It's just to bring them in. If I can
mm,
bring them in, that's the luxury of just having that shirt to source and give to someone else's collection, because they're fetching
mm,
like £300 on an eBay bid plain. Like it's mad.
yeah. I
So
guess I
yeah,
guess that's another tip as well. Like what you said earlier on in the pod, where you said you get like certain shirts you want when you start your collection, and then you maybe branch out a little bit, like I do sometimes, get a couple of others. But it could be a positive thing. So do it if you find a good deal, if you get something cheap, etc., or even if it's a bit more expensive than usual, but it might be worth more later on, do it, because if you then come across a shirt that you're desperate for, you could potentially sell those, and you won't stress about it, but then you can put it towards something that you really, really want. And again, you grow your collection again. It's like a domino effect. So
yeah,
yeah, it's definitely worth getting more. If you've got self-control, and you only want certain ones, go for it. But if you're like most Arsenal fans, a few's never enough. So you might as well just buy it. you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
So
No, I
yeah.
get you, man. No, I fully get you. It's just really cool to see the community grow, and just seeing
Mm.
different collections grow all over time. So yeah. But one thing I did want to talk about before we wrap up as well is special shirts, like special edition
Mm.
ones. I think to name a few that have been on the site and been requested recently. You look at like the final shirts, so um like the FA Cup final '04, the 2002 one, the always forward one, like that one. Oh my God, the
Mm.
prices on them,
Yeah.
they've gone really high as well, because
Mm.
they're just off the market now. They're so rare. And
Yeah.
yeah, like if you want to build your collection, start looking at those pieces as well. If you're looking to invest and really build it up, because um they're just going to continue growing. Like remember back in the day, when I first started the site, I really wanted to get hold of those because I knew they were like really popular, but they were
Mm.
selling for like £100 back then, £90. To get them
Yeah.
now, you're looking at like plus 200, like it's mental. And
Mm.
so yeah, the price is going up, if you do want to invest or if you just want to keep them and for peace of mind, like that value is going up whilst enjoying them. And even if you don't intend to sell them, it's still good to know, the it's just gonna keep going up the more sort of the collection scene grows, and I think it will.
Yeah, the prices have definitely increased. I mean, you look at the player versions of the shirts that are out now, they're sort of,
Mm,
110, whatever it is now, but
yeah,
that's
without fonts.
before fonts, yeah. So, and then you've got old school shirts, vintage shirts, double the price now. It's crazy, man. Like, yeah, just that is a really good tip. Just invest, just to really just do it. If you're unsure, just do it because could be worth more in the long run. Or like I said before, you can potentially swap or trade in. Yeah, the special shirts. We've both seen it. Obviously, you have, but there's a massive demand now, isn't there? It's crazy. Like, I think when you were dropping all those final games, people just went nuts. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It was crazy, and now you see a lot more of them. But again, but that goes back to what we said right at the beginning. We never really thought about it before. Like,
yeah,
I didn't really care about home 2005 with the final game, but now that it's sort of more obtainable, and you go, oh yeah, I remember that. It's mental. It's like it's gone crazy. Yeah, and the always forwards at the time, people kind of liked him, but now, well, Jesus, do you know what I mean? It's mental. But I think I asked, what's his name? He doesn't really go on social media so much anymore. Remember Bruce Banana on
oh
Instagram?
yeah, yeah, Josh, yeah, he's amazing.
Josh, yeah. So I remember reaching out to him because he used to have like the old catalogs.
Yeah,
He would show you the pictures and stuff, and I was like, mate, I honestly can't remember how much it was, but can you remember how much like the final game, a little bit on the
yeah,
chest was? And he found me the picture. It was like £4, and I was
6
like
quid,
nothing.
some crap. Yeah, it's mad.
I was like, man, it's mental. So it's just
And now for
yeah,
that stamp, you're looking at like it just increases the value up by like 50 quid or something. Like it's just mental. But that's
yeah,
what
yeah.
happens when they're no longer in circulation. Like even
Mm.
or going back to like last season's black shirt, when they're not off,
Oh
when they're
Jesus,
not on the
yeah.
shelves, people would give an arm and a leg for them. I'm very lucky again to have invested while I could. Not so much hoarding. I wouldn't call it hoarding, but I just grabbed the players that I liked wearing them, like a Saliba
Mm.
and Gabriel and just really enjoying them for what they are.
Just talking about that as well, just quickly, like Saliba, like you've gone and done that, and then moments in time you end up seeing him, you get his
Yeah.
signature, and now
Yeah.
there's another thing that's made him more value, but also more personal to you. So
Yeah.
you never know. So just branch out, just get stuff. If you're unsure, just do it. It's
Yeah.
worth it,
And
man.
yeah, like I'm super sort of lucky really to have met him and just and speak to him as well. Like I'm
Mm,
not sure if you guys seen it, but I put a photo up of him signing the shirt or sign who's he'd signed the shirt for me, his match worn versus Brentford. Um, and yeah, just being able to chat to him and
mm,
I'm not the only guy who's meeting the players, by the way. I'm just saying like this is what
yeah.
can sort of encourage someone, just being close to them or seeing them in on a holiday. Like Simon said, he saw El Neni once and he was like
Mm,
from far, or it was like he was just at the hotel like before him and he was like, oh God, I need to get an El Neni shirt. It's
mm.
just mad how we feel so attached to them just by being close or near them or seeing them, speaking to them. And yeah, man, this is what making a collection is, just embracing any sort of moment you get. And that's what gives you
Yeah.
sentimental value. Sentimental value can mean much more than just the price of the shirt. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and I think a good way to sort of sum it up is it's your journey. It's no one else's. So if you only want a few Puma shirts from the Emirates era because you have a affinity for them, for a reason for it, a player you love, then that's where you start your collection or you finish it. So no one can tell you your collection is not as good as theirs or it's not the right collection. It's that's the beauty of it, and it can change at any moment due to things that happen. And you could suddenly, now you've met Saliba personally, like you say, I know a lot of people have anyway, but again, it's your journey. That's what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say. So
yeah,
you might now want to go, right, I just want to get every Saliba shirt he's had for us. I want to get every cup
yeah,
version, every, if we've been in a final, I need to have it all, like the Carabao when he had the, when he first started, stuff like that, the
yeah,
cups,
yeah,
all these things. Like it's endless. And I
yeah,
think from a collection, as a a collector or a new collector, that's the beauty of it. Yeah,
yeah,
there's
man.
just limitless, mate. But I mean, we've got so much to talk. We'll do
Yeah.
more of these,
We're,
obviously,
we're
and
gonna do we're
go
gonna do
into it.
more of
But
these for sure, but I've got to wrap it up now because the time is running out. But
yeah,
yeah, man, it was amazing to chat about this, and I'm sure we're gonna think of more things, and I'm sure we can delve into specific things, so like competitions and cup fonts
mm,
and errors and stuff like that. But
yeah, man.
yeah, man, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and it was good to chat to you, man.
Yeah, as always, it feels like it's a we every time we do this, it's like going back straight into our always, isn't it, mate?
Yeah,
It's good, it's good. But yeah, this is just a starter, I guess. We'll get
yeah,
into
man.
more nitty gritty to do with the collections later.
100%, man. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. And Gav, we'll be here
Cool.
back next week, hopefully after a City win, man. But take it
Yeah,
easy. And everybody, thank you for watching, man.
cool. Thank
Peace,
you,
man. Peace.
mate.